So, welcome everybody to April monthly updates from RECAN and XABS. I would actually quickly like to do a quick poll. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would tell me how many of you right now are already using Dynamics 365. So I'll give you a minute or two, and I'd appreciate your answer. Okay, people are voting quite quickly. Give you a little bit more. We're still missing some people. So if you just joined, we have a poll that I appreciate if you answer. And the questions are: you already using Dynamics 365? Okay, I think we've got people's answers, and it's about a third of the people on the webinar are not using Dynamics 365 yet, and 2/3 are using Dynamics 365. Thank you very much. I'm going to close the poll and then we carry on. So today we will be having the people you can see listed here. Instead of Jonathan from RECAN, we'll have Michael, but otherwise from XABS we have the usual three people, Laza, Pedro, and I. And objectives and agenda for those who are new. This is the format. We try to give you a chance to ask short questions after each section. We appreciate it. Please be short because we don't have a lot of space. You can just type them in the questions pane. We'll also give you a short answer so that we can keep moving. If you need to dive deeper, you can always contact us. There's a survey that we also appreciate you use to give us your feedback. You will get an email with the URL, and the last slide of the webinar will also have the URL, and you can do it after we're finished. It's for your benefit, so we try to improve this based on your feedback. Materials. At the end of the webinar, there'll be an email, but if you want to, there's a hands-out section, and you can get a copy of the presentation by just downloading the PDF in the hands-out section of the GoToMeeting utility. There will also be a recording available of this on our YouTube channel at the end, within a few hours normally, of the webinar. Agenda. We're going to quickly go through who and what is RECAN, who and what is XABS news, so that you're up to date on us. Then we're going to look at all the updates there are in the customer engagement stuff. That's the CRM part of Dynamics 365, and then we'll look at all the stuff in the finance and operations, including Power BI. We have some tips and tricks, and actually sometimes we move them around to make it more fun, so they're not necessarily at the end. And we'll have a few minutes at the end, hopefully, for some Q&A and wrap up. There were no survey highlights this time that we had to bring to you. So this is RECAN. So now Michael will tell you a little bit about them. Michael, you're on.
Yeah, you can hear me all okay?
We hear you
right
loud and clear.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, I'd like to welcome you all to April's D365 Unified and Operations webinar. And just to quickly introduce myself in a little bit more details, I'm Michael. I may have actually met with some of you or spoken to some of you over the phone, for those who I've not spoken with before. I help lead both delivery and resources within Microsoft Dynamics here at RECAN. For those of you joining us for the first time, before Louise begins providing you with the updates for Microsoft this month, I'd like to just give you a very quick overview of RECAN our services and how we can potentially sort of help yourselves and the companies you're working for. We now have 2 offices in the UK, both London and Manchester, and we've now got global coverage within the Dynamics market. We provide both consultancy and permanent resource to aid both implementations and support of the Microsoft Dynamics suite of technologies. As a business, we challenge the norm. We try to add value. We help host and deliver a complimentary training workshop with XABS in order to address the skills gap within the Dynamics market and to develop a deeper understanding of the market we recruit within. We believe this provides a distinct advantage over some of our competitors. Just to let you know, Recant is APTCO approved consultancy, which is seen as a badge of quality within the industry. And to achieve this status, both our clients and candidates are fully reference checked. For a full overview of our services we provide, please just have a look at the link on the screen there at the bottom. Louis, would you mind taking me across to the next slide? Thank you very much. So a quick update for news for this month. Our complimentary Dynamics 365 Unified Operations Workshop is being held on the 13th of April in London. We have a couple of spaces still available, so please get in touch if you'd be interested in attending and if you'd like some further information. We have an experienced Dynamics recruiter, Martin Abbey, who joined the team last month, and he's already had a massive and extremely positive impact on the service we deliver. Last month, we reported nearly 300% growth on the past month views on our YouTube channel for our webinar, such as this one, which is great, as it demonstrates the value in both the services provided by Recant and XABS. As always, you'll find information about live jobs on our website. However, please don't hesitate to get in touch if you want to discuss further options and future pipeline work. But for any information regarding market news, whether it's salary, rate surveys, information about what's in demand in the market, please, again, don't hesitate to get in touch. Well, I hope you all enjoy the webinar. I know we've had extremely positive feedback from each one we've held so far, and I don't see this one being any different at all. So back to you, Louise.
Sorry, everybody. I had my sound muted. Thank you, Peter, for reminding me. So who are we? So you can see the pictures up on top of who we are and more or less a short bio on each one of us. As a company, to the left, the most interesting thing is we've delivered more than 40 workshops for Microsoft staff and partners. And we've been involved in what is an unusually large amount of implementations compared to most people. We trained the Microsoft partner technical architect team. They asked us to come in and train them in December. And everyone is on the team is very experienced. So we have multiple MVPs. Everybody's an MCP, and most are also MCTs. So very experienced team behind us. Some news about us. On the training front, we have been seeing a strong demand for shorter, specialized workshops, and this is opposed to the ones we had until now, which were 4 to 5 days workshops, and which we do for Microsoft. Also, we've added, therefore, 2 new ones. One is role-based security, just covering role-based security, nothing else, and another one just covering life cycle services, or LCS. So if you are pressed for time, this is these small ones should make it easier for people to attend. On the consulting side, we see a strong interest but we don't see projects getting off the starting block. We haven't quite determined why, but it seems that people are taking off kind of slowly. On the team, we've added several new members from around the world, including some functional consultants. So we're acquiring functional consulting capabilities on top of our already very strong technical. And partnerships, we're trying to develop a global partnership with a larger, well-established partner so that we can cover and help people all over the world. They're also very well consolidated, and that means we'll be able to do more. GDPR compliance. We are working on GDPR compliance and being GDPR compliant. We expect to be on schedule, and this for our clients, partners, associates, means that we will be able to tell you about any data, personal data that we have on you, what it's being used for, and if you request it, we'll be able to delete it. So this is important, and as soon as it's done, it will be published on our website so that everybody knows. This is for you guys who are not part in the European Union. This is a requirement in the European Union concerning privacy of personal data. Tips and tricks. Now, the tip I have for this month is actually things have been evolving very fast. It's very difficult to keep up. And a lot of people need a lot of different stuff and they've been asking for it. I suggest that if you are missing a feature or you need a feature, go here. This is the roadmap, and it's not only for finance and operations, but for all the other Dynamics 365 products, and see if it's in the roadmap for you. If not, you have the possibility of then requesting it, and people can vote for it, and depending on how many people or how many votes the requests get, then Microsoft will prioritize it. But a lot of stuff here. So my tip for this month, my main tip for this month is go check out the roadmap if there's something you're looking for. Business applications, Spring 18 release notes. So I'll jump over this one and take you to the next one, which I'll give it to Pedro and then we'll come back. Okay, Pedro, so this is your turn.
Hi everybody. So I'm here to talk a little bit about CRM updates, now more known by customer engagement. I will focus a lot on Spring release notes because there are a lot of news there. Some of them already get out, but the majority of the things are new. Okay, so let's begin. So here I have a common slide. This means that every applications inside of customer engagement are getting these updates also. So all the applications are get ready for GDPR. Okay, so there is a lot of investment of Microsoft to be according with GDPR. There is a new license for sales, that is the professional user license. You can see here the price, and there is a new license guide that you can check also. And another news is not really new, but every applications that are inside of unified interface are getting the common controls framework. That is the new control framework to get a best interaction with the user. So every application are getting this new framework. I'm trying. Okay. Regarding with Dynamics 365 for marketing, it's generally available, and there are also the price with this. If you check the license guide, you're gonna see also the price of this product. So it's a new product. It's not the latest model marketing that we have in CRM. It's a specific application for marketing that replaced the Dynamics marketing that exists before. So, and it is very similar, but it's totally integrated inside of Dynamics 365. So we don't need nothing special to integrate between the sales and this application for marketing. And they have the common models that we have in this kind of applications. So we have a multi-channel campaigns, email marketing that we can see the statistics of our emails, that who opened the email, who check, who download the attachment. So everything about our email marketing. We can have a marketing page, so the landing page you can manage there. Lead management, so to classify our leads, so we can have a scoring model. Imagine that we score 10 points if the lead opens the email, more 10 points if the lead clicks in the URL. So, and like that, we can focus only on the leads that really want our service. After, we can have the event management, not only physical event management, but webinars also. We can manage everything about the event, so who is going to speak, where is the venues, so everything about the event we can manage there. And obviously we have integrated reporting tools that we can see how our campaign is going on and make some change. Here is a little interface that we can configure our campaign, so we can send email, and for example, if the lead doesn't open the email in 5 days, we can have an action. Otherwise, if he opens, we can send another email with another offer, imagine. So we can interact with the actions that we launch. Oops. So one before, Dynamics 365 for sales. We get the intelligence, let's say that we can see inside of our sales application. So we have a relationship assistance, data capture, so we can see when our customers are reading the email. We have the email engagement. This email engagement should not be used to do email campaigns. This only for decisions. Imagine that we want to know if a customer receive our email with our code, and if the customer download our code, and we can manage this kind of things. And we have the sales insights that is in public preview, and we will have relationship analytics, so we can see, for example, if in our organization there is any contact that knows a customer that we want make a meeting. So, and like that we can ask to that contact, so you know how you came with me, or which information is more important about this contact. And predictive lead scoring, once again, we can have intelligence and tell us the lead scoring, but something that we don't need to act at all. And we have the LinkedIn Sales Navigator is something that is already present, but even more integrated with our application. Customer service side, so I put the service hub, so everything about the unified interface is known right now for a hub, so customer service hub, and we have this new interface much more cleaner. I talked a little bit in the last session. We have the Unified Service Desk that is a standalone application to consolidate communication channels, and we have a new here in the Unified Service Desk. So we're gonna have a best practice analyzer. So this analyzer will analyze our customizations and it identifies defects that we can have in our customization. And the voice of customers. So here is when we can create a survey to know if our customer service works or not. And it is in public preview that this new interface, the unified interface, be present on Unified Service Desk. Okay. Regarding with Dynamics 365 portal, that is a portal that if we have, for example, customer engagement plan, we can, this portal is free for us, so we can create a portal for our customers internally. We have a lot of type of portals, and there is some news. So we have a better troubleshooting. Sometimes it's difficult to know why something that we implement doesn't work. So that was improved, and we can search inside of detachments of knowledge articles. Knowledge articles are something that we have inside of Dynamics CRM, and we can make an article, for example, to fix a problem. And now, if you had some attachments to that article, we can search inside of that attachment. Voice of customer, a tool to make surveys to our customers. We have this user interface that is drag and drop. We can drag and drop questions and possible answers, or have a free text to answer. And we have a lot of changes. Also, one of them is this, that we can have contextual questions. So in the last question here was, what is your favorite drink? We choose coffee, and the next survey, the next questions are contextual. So we have coffee instead of a drink. Okay, so that is one of the biggest news about the voice of customer, and we have also a better integration with Power BI. Universal resource scheduling. This is not an application. This is a service that is shared by many applications. So we can this replaced the service scheduling that we have in the service. Now Microsoft isolates this service, and now it serves, for example, customer service, field service, and project service. So it's something that is common for many applications. And one of the news is the schedule board in a list view. Regarding the field service, so once again, we have the field service hub to get the new unified interface. And for example, we can associate 3D content, and we have a better enhancements in the optimizations on the resource scheduling. So one of the main requirements of field service is allow us to schedule work resources, and this algorithm was enhanced. And also for connected field service, this is something that we can associate IoT equipments in our factory, in our work, and we are advised when something is wrong and connected with our our instance of Dynamics 365. Project service automation. We have a lot of improvements, mainly on the price. So the price system before was very restrict, and they are open to have our pricing dimensions. Okay, so it's something that if you already use these enhancements, will get better, and was one of the main points that the community is saying to Microsoft, and they are flexibility that this application. So now I have here another buzzword, that is business application platform. So Microsoft, before launch this platform, that was the business application platform, that was a separate platform from Dynamics 365. Before was composed by Power Apps, Flow, and Power BI, and now Microsoft merged that with Dynamics 365, and because of that we are referencing here in our webcast. Okay, and this is a very important point that we have to know. Okay, mainly for CRM side, for customer engagement side, but I think we're gonna have this more with all Dynamics 365. Okay, so CDS is the new word. So who is from the customer engagement side knows the word XRM, and one of the biggest doubts was CDS will replace XRM. Well, in my opinion, no. They simply changed the name from XRM to CDS. Why? CDS was a great platform with entities, with everything, but they didn't have business rules, they don't have workflows, they don't have business process flows. And Microsoft thought, okay, so we need that. We have that in XRM. So we're gonna merge everything, and we're gonna have a common platform, and we will replace, or we will rename XRM for CDS. CDS, the main purpose is has everything integrated. So it's an easy way to integrate financial operation with customer engagement and so on. And we have two versions of CDS, for apps and for analytics. For analytics, it's the way that Microsoft wants to provide a self-service data lake for business entities. Okay, I will not explore this. This is in public preview right now, and more news will come in the future. I will just talk about a little bit. I think I missed 2 slides. And if you go on your instance of Dynamics 365 for customer engagement, and if you go to solutions, this is the which you are writing in. Okay, thank you. You're going to see already the Power Apps. So Power Apps has 2 versions right now. One that is the model-driven apps and the Canva apps. Model-driven apps is XRM applications, and Canvas apps are the Power Apps that we know before. So with a standardized user interface, and the model-driven apps is what we know now for sales, service, marketing, and talent. Okay, every applications are on common data service for apps. Okay, this is very important to know. Okay, this difference between the 2 types of Power Apps, that CDS now is XRM. Okay, so don't forget that this is now new words. And once again, I think I already talked about, I just want to take another thing that is Power Query. So CDS, one of the things that we don't have is a kind of ETL. So we have a common database that we can write data. We can interact with a lot of data source, but we don't have a good way to select data from two data sources, for example, and they isolated the Power Query from Power BI and put directly in Common Data Service. That is a very nice enhancement. Power Query will be the future. The language ham will be the future. So pay attention to that. And okay, Luis, I think was a lot of information, but I think I put some big notes here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pedro. And this way I get to take over. So some support updates. Did anyone have any questions? We said that in each section we'd give you a chance. I don't see any at this moment, but if you have them, I'll count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess that means I can move on. So support updates. During March, there was a problem with deploying environments. So if you ran into this problem, what the result of it was the environments would fail to deploy, and after they fail to deploy, you're unable to delete them. The screenshot on top that you can see, you will see that the first menu is maintain, then goes to history, and it's missing the ones that are in the bottom, deallocate, edit, and stop. So the one on the top is one of these that was hit by this problem. The only solution for this is to ask Microsoft support to get rid of the environments for you. They are, however, struggling with it. I still have some in this state that Microsoft has not managed to clean up yet. So that was the major issue. There have been some other minor ones, but nothing worth noting. LCS updates. This is an important one, which is, as you may have heard from now, all T2 environments, so from platform update 12, T2 environments and higher, T3, T4, T3, 4, 5 environments, you no longer have RDP access to them. And we all know from experience that sometimes some of the services, these are Windows machines running services, hang. If that happens and you cannot RDP to them, basically you're going to have to restart the whole machine if you want to restart anything. Now in LCS, Microsoft has added this in the maintenance menu. There's a restart service, which then allows you to choose the service that you want to restart. And so this is the way to do it now. If you have something that seems like it's hanging, but you, of course, you cannot RDP over to the environment and see what is hanging and what is not hanging. You're going to have to guess your way to that. Okay, so a list of updates, of interesting updates. So for March, this interesting enough, a release 2 of these updates, or of the release notes, but there's no release 1. I don't know where they've ended, where the release 1 is. But there is, so if this is what you're seeing and you're confused by it, yep, it's correct. Somehow the release 1 didn't make it. There are updates to the methodology. Now, the updates to the methodology means that there are extra facilities there for your project methodology when you edit it, to be able to delete and add steps in there. It has been a little difficult if you were trying to do that, so it's getting a little better. You can, of course, read about this in the updates page if you go to your LCS login page and log in the portal. I'm not going to tell you all the details. There's an application upgrade also. So this is mostly concerned with that what you could upgrade from LCS on on-premise environments was very limited, and now the whole process has become a little better and much more manageable directly from LCS. Also, solution packages with global restricted scope. This is a preview feature, so if you want to use it, you have to enable it. And what it means is that you can create, publish, and update solution packages that are global, that is, they have a restricted scope, and access packages that are managed at the solution level. Some of this stuff was not possible before, so more flexibility there in dealing with solution packages. The translation service for documentation is interesting. You know, the translation service was available and you could use it for translating label files. And now it'll also translate Word documents. So that's nice, because if you're writing documentation and you're using Word documents to do that, you can use the translation service to help you do those translations for you. That's pretty neat. I like. It's one of my favorite features that recently came out. And there's a reporting a production outage. So there's an update there. The process for if you have your production environment dies, the flow and process for this is different. Now, I'm not going to explain there. The important thing is, if you have done this before, just be prepared that there are a few more things in there now that you have to do, and it works a little different. So if you're maintaining them and looking at managing your production environments, go check on this, because you want to understand how this works well, so that you get, if your production environment's down, you really want to get this right. Any questions at this point? Nope, I don't see any, so I'll move on. On-premise specific updates. So there's setup and deployment has improved, as I just mentioned before, on the LCS part. And this is, we're talking about Enterprise Edition 7.2, that's the application with Platform Update 12. There are improvements to the setup and deployment process. It's not only become easier, some of the stuff has become significantly faster. It used to be, it was a very heavy process. Microsoft has made some good improvements to make it easier to go through the installation of an on-premise environment. The increased automation, that improves reliability. That means they've reduced the number of manual steps you have to do in there, which was also being a headache for everybody, because the more manual intervention you have, the more mistakes people make, the more trouble you get into. Besides that, the servicing of the Enterprise Edition with Platform Update 12, so from that one, you can apply platform application updates. Again, this is what I had already briefly mentioned in LCS. That Microsoft releases. You can also apply your own customizations from LCS, and you can roll back code changes if packages aren't successfully applied. This stuff already existed in the cloud version, but now you also can do this with your on-premise environments. And then there's improvements to the data integration, which in practice is really the part of the data management framework. There have been significant improvements in there. Mostly this was not working very as expected up to now, but now it should be on the same level as if you had in the cloud environment. And the only thing is, you need to have at least the application 7.2 and Platform Update 12 to do it. Now, this really is not for synchronous integrations. So this is stuff using the data management framework, and that is typically asynchronous integrations. And Microsoft actually calls the synchronous integrations recurring integration. So it's not for recurring integrations in the current Microsoft terminology. Any questions on this? So let's go to platform updates. We have Platform Update 15. Now this requires the application version 8.0, which is just been released, and it is for targeted users, as was 13 and 14. So it's only for people who are opted into the Continuous Auto Update Advantage program. If you have not, you will not be able to see this in LCS and not be able to use it. It's cumulative, and it means it contains new or changed features from Platform Update 13, 14, and all the 15 stuff, as well as all earlier updates. But of course, if you're not in the say AAP program, you'll be on platform update 12 for now. It has a whole bunch of bug fixes. You can read about all these bug fixes on the knowledge base article that is shown on the slide. So if you're looking for bug fixes, go consult that and see if there's a fix there for any problems you have. And there are a bunch of updates, which I'll name quickly. There's the ability to color grid rows without overlaying using the form data source. There's accessibility support for controls and forms developed using the cloud platform. This basically means there's been some quite a bit of work to improve accessibility. So accessibility is for people with who are handicapped and need special accessibility features. And of course, in the web browser, it's a little more complicated to do, but some great improvements there. Client-based alerts. This is client-based alert functionality. Basically enables the user to define an alert rule directly in the application. So users can define alerts based on business events. For example, when an invoice is paid or a customer changes an address. And when the specific condition is met, the system will show notification to alert the user. So this is nice. People who come from older versions already were used to this. And now here, this is really useful for people who are used to using alerts. Embedded Power Apps. This is an interesting one because basically now it's a service that you, as developers and non-technical users alike, you can build business apps without writing code, basically using Power Apps, and then you can actually embed a Power App in a page, as well as edit, delete, or share the embedded Power App if you want to. So that's nice. So if you want to include, I tend to think of this like in the old days, you could embed ActiveX controls and stuff like that in the forms. Now you can embed Power Apps in there. And extension overlaying options in Visual Studio order options. Now this is just if you're a developer, the order of the options is being changed. So you get first presented with the options to extend, and overlaying, which is the solution of last resource, is the last option you have in there. And if all the Microsoft stuff you cannot overlay anyway, it's being locked down. So, but it is possible if you have ISV solutions, your own stuff, you could do that. So I guess it's more a psychological thing. Any questions up to now? No. So more stuff on the update. Message Center has been upgraded. So it's redesigned. It's visually more pleasant, but of course that's a question of personal preference. There's a new messaging API included with it, which is probably the most interesting. And there's something on the functional side, which is one voucher has been deprecated, and from spring 18 release, it'll be turned off by default, so it will not be there. From the fall 18 and later releases, the one voucher functionality will be permanently turned off. So if you're using one voucher functionality, keep this in mind, it's going to disappear. Now, something that I've heard mixed opinions about, and some people like, some people don't like, is now that power users can actually add custom fields to forms without any coding, so directly in the client. Of course, that means a lot of stuff is you just want to collect some extra information, some new information, and you don't need to do any specific processing. Then you don't need any coding. You could do it this way. I haven't actually tried it, just played with it, but it sounds interesting. And support for display and edit methods on form data sources. This extension of classes pattern that you can use to do that. Keep that in mind if you're a developer. And PAOS environments, they used to have from T2 on, they used to have a passive AOS. The passive AOS has disappeared. So if you install the environments and suddenly you wonder what's happened to it, it's correct, it's not there anymore. So you'll only have the normal AOS in there. Application updates. Okay, so this is mostly the spring 18 stuff, the release on 3rd of April. That's the build number. There are no more business edition and enterprise editions of Dynamics 365 operations. So this only Dynamics 365 operations in the story. Overview of the updates is just quick. This has been released very recently. I haven't had the time to go through or even install an environment, so you'll get something better next month. But for now, you can see there's the improvements to business productivity, extensibility, integration, all the way down to compliance. Compliance is GDPR for the most part. And if you're interested in the slide, if you download it, you can see the release notes, which is a PDF file, which has all the details in there. You can also read most of it online, and the URL that I'm showing here. I'll dig a little deeper into this next month. Azure updates. Important things. We do actually a lot of work in the DACH region. That's Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And there are new data centers in there. So the Germans have traditionally, and this has been very strict about data privacy, and they want to keep their data in their countries. So in Germany now they are north, northeast, west, central, and Frankfurt area. Switzerland is next year going to get a data center in Zurich and another one in Geneva. So if you're working with anyone in Germany or Switzerland, that's good news. I'm not sure when Dynamics 365 will be supported on these data centers though. Okay, but it's coming, so that's good news. Now, just to give you an overview, if you don't have this, you download the presentation, you can see where all the data centers in the world. That's pretty impressive. So, and it's expanding. Business Central. Now, this is not strictly stuff we usually cover, but I mention it because I thought this is very interesting. So for those of you who have heard about Nav, now there's a full cloud version, which is called Business Central. And for small enterprises, this is definitely the ERP system of choice. And it was kind of weird because it used to be called Nav, and then it became called Product Madeira, and then Tenerife, and then Business Edition, and finally Business Central. It seems to have stayed now on Business Central. And to give you an idea, so this all the Nav stuff, the redesign UI, design for the cloud, and it has the stuff if you're a Nav that you already know, your financials, supply chain, customer service, operations, and some more, and projects in there. Pricing, just to give you an idea. So Central Essentials, there's a premium version of it. So if you're going to use that stuff, or if you're interested, have a look at it. And now I'm going to hand over to Laze, who's going to do the Power BI stuff. Laze.
Hello everyone. Let's go quickly through it. Then if we can change the slide. Yep, that was supported. So this month Power BI was just updated 2 days ago, and of the top of the normal visual and data connector improvements, Microsoft added two exciting new features that lets the report consumers interact with the report in a very new way. So the QA Explorer enables this new way of interacting with your reports, and we will go through most of these updates. Some of them we'll mention as we don't have a lot of time, but just a quick tip: in order to get these updates, you don't have to go and every month download a new application. You can, if you're on Windows 10, you can just install Power BI Desktop from your Windows Store, and it will be automatically updated every time a new version is published by Microsoft. Okay. So on the reporting, as you said, on the QA Explorer, Microsoft added a new way to integrate the Q&A experience into the report. So if you want to let your users to ask questions about the data in your report, you can set up an image, you can set up a button or some shape, and this will launch your Q&A Explorer. You can assign this dialog to an image, shape, or button by picking out the Q&A in the type drop-down of the action card, which formerly was, for some of you who worked with Power BI, was known as link card. And you can assign the bookmarks on the back action. Once you set up this Q&A action, while you're in edit mode, you can control and click the button to launch the dialog and try out the experience. There's a lot of information how you can set it up here. You can set up your languages and some additions, and you can do a drill through, but we cannot go through everything because it can be boring, to be honest. If you have questions about this, please contact us and we will help you. Let's go. Right. So there's some can be triggered just in the shape of the image, and they decided it was time to add a button control to Power BI as well. These new methods are geared toward letting you create an app-like experience with interactive elements in your report directly. A button can be inserted from the report by picking on several icons or selecting a plugin button. Once on your page, you can choose to add some text, change the icon or the fill color, or give your button an outline. You have a lot of controls around the look of the icon and the text of what you can do, like the size, color, alignment, all of those regular stuff. And when you pick your different look of the button, you can then use it to drop down to change how it looks or hover when it's being clicked off. As with images or shapes, you can pick the action that will be performed and click through the action card. Currently, these actions include the back button, a specific bookmark, and Q&A. And for certain icon types, there will be a default action assigned. For example, if you select the Q&A button, then the action card will be defaulted to Q&A. The other thing that I want to mention is about the combo chart line styles. In August, Microsoft added line styles and legend options for the line charts, but at that time you could not use these new styles for combo charts. Now they have closed the gap, and you can now change your combo charts lines to different styles and have an optional reflected into your legend. Okay. One of the goals is to make one of the goals of Microsoft is for us to make a very easy and beautiful formatted reports. So last month, Microsoft shipped the default visual placement, and this month they have shipped another improvement that is more towards the ease of use. So they improved the default visual sort, so you don't need to change it as nearly as frequent. So the different logic of sorting visual is that if your visual uses a column that has an associated order by column, they will sort it by default. Otherwise, if your field is of date, they will sort it by chronological order. And lastly, if you don't have an order by column or date field, they will sort it by the measure descending. The numeric range is now generally available to use. You will see the slider type option for numeric column without needing to turn on the preview feature. Additionally, any newly created slicers using numeric columns will default to the between mode of the numeric range slider. It will always respect any sort of the manual that you're picking. Microsoft added the capability to export your linguistic schema into YAML format. You can then make edits to the schema, such as adding phrasing and synonyms, or otherwise customize the language model that the Q&A uses, so they can understand the questions about your data. And you can then import it back again, your modified schema, into your Power BI desktop application. There is also a new dynamic size function, which is called combined values. And as you have noticed, every month now, Power BI team allows one or two more functions. This one is a combined values that allows multi-part keys to be handled in a more efficient way than using a direct query. In February, Microsoft released the organization visual. This was a simple way to deploy and manage custom visuals inside the organization. This was in preview, and now this is already generally available, and means that it's available out of the box for all of the Power BI desktops and the Power BI service. So if your application is updated, you can immediately use it. The overview by cloud custom visual is a presentation visual for list-oriented data with the data appearing in a format similar to Instagram. So as you can see, Microsoft is also trying to to merge the gap with the youngsters. The icon map by Altius Visuals allows you to show data-bound images, lines and circles on a map, and Hexbin Cater plot custom visual displays points on top of hexagonal bins. Each hex bin's color is based on the density of the point with each bin, and with darker bins showing much more points, which is self-explanatory. You can control this visual whether with just the points or just the bins show up, in addition to having formatting control over the both. So these are the custom visuals that were released and pointed out by Microsoft. On the data connectivity side, the Adobe Analytics connector has been made available as a preview connector from December 2007, and now it's also generally available. You can access it by, you can find it in the Get Data dialog under the Online Services category. And also an improvement to the SAP HANA connector is made in this release that enables the users to explicitly select the port to use in order to connect to the SAP HANA server. In the previous releases, the port could not be specified, and some users had problems with this. However, the default port was not specified and was not distinguished between single container and multi-container SAPs. On the data connectivity also is new, is that a new connector allows you now to connect to Dynamics 365 Business Central, the new, let's say, in quotes, new application that was also mentioned by Luis, which was previously known as Dynamics 365 for Financials. The new Dynamics 365 connector can be found under the Online Services in the Get Data dialog, right above the Adobe connector, and it's also generally available. And that's all this month that for Power BI. Louis, you can take it over.
Thank you, Lasse. So we are sticking to time. We're basically time's up. So just to quickly wrap up for this month, the feedback survey is at this URL, but you'll receive an email on it, so you don't need to remember it. If you want to download the presentation PDF format, you can also see it there. I'd like to thank everyone for participating today, and I hope to see you next month, where we'll dive into the spring release, which just came out. We'll install some machines and play around and then tell you what we found out, or at least the key points. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hello. I just wanted to say thank you very much, Luis, and the team at XABS, and hopefully that you've all found today's webinar useful. And if you're working on any projects or an implementation, and if you require any additional consultancy resources or training, please get in touch with either myself or Luis. And as a small favour, we would be grateful if you could share and like as many posts regarding the webinar online, in order for us to help share this information to the wider Dynamics community. That'd be much appreciated, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Take care.
Okay, thank you, Michael. That was it from our side for this month. See you, everybody, in April. Bye.